the
Mm,
circadian rhythm, our natural 24-hour biological clock, incredibly important. So I think a lot of people in that age, in the early 20s, mid 20s, or 30s, they might be going to bed at the same time during the weekdays and then kind of staying up much later on the weekends or drinking on the weekends. So with ADHD, that's one thing that is also different genetically speaking, is there's a higher propensity of having what's called a delayed circadian rhythm, or a delayed sleep wake cycle. So that normal sleep wake cycle, right? It's normally we get a cortisol spike in the morning when we wake up, and then that gradually declines, and then melatonin rises, to put us to sleep, obviously. So with ADHD, that cycle could be delayed several hours, which can make it incredibly difficult to fall asleep, to wind down at night. And so we have to kind of proactively manage the bookends of our day, both what we do in the morning, i.e., getting light, getting exercise, getting movement, and then on the flip side, eliminating blue light, especially, right? Eliminating, you know, eating, food too late at night, for instance, being mindful of activity. So I think that's probably something that I really commonly see people just scrolling at night before bed, or on, working too late on their computer, on their devices. And that could be incredibly disruptive to that sleep wake cycle, which a lot of things are dependent on, without getting too much into the weeds, but a ton of things physiologically are dependent on that sleep wake cycle kind of firing on all cylinders and being very regular. I think protein in the morning and consistently throughout the day is another huge one that I would say for just about anybody, but especially important for those with ADHD. So having, protein in the morning, typically, I would say, I mean, some people, of course, the intermittent fasting and things like that, but I would say generally speaking, for most people, having some kind of protein in the morning and then periodically throughout the day is going to be very helpful, right? That protein is going to contain tyrosine, the building block to dopamine, and then it's also going to be very helpful for balancing blood sugar. So with ADHD, if we're number one, if we're going to bed late, we're going to be waking up late, we're going to be rushing in the morning. That's going to kind of set the stage for potentially skipping breakfast, running on adrenaline or coffee only. So it's kind of this spiral that happens. And so we kind of have to start with those basics and really have that circadian rhythm and that structure down to really set the stage for the other habits to take place. Um, I think avoiding sugar in general, or too high of a carbohydrate diet. I mean, I know you train a lot. I think it's different if you're training a lot intensely, kind of peri workout, before, during, or right after the workout, more susceptible to taking up that glucose more readily. But generally speaking, kind of relying more on the proteins, the vegetables, the lower sugar fruits and stuff like that. Um, what else? And then I think, yeah, like the blood work, doing an assessment of where are your gaps nutritionally or hormonally or inflammation wise, blood sugar wise, and then addressing those accordingly.
mm. I think it's when people talk about improving their sleep, they are always looking for, the supplementation, like, "Give me the magnesium bisglycinate, give me the blue light blocking glasses, give me, the X." But
Hmm.
it's so funny how heavily consistency, like, the body's a creature of habit. Like, if you can have a consistent sleep and wake cycle, that's, like, the number one. Like, you'll fall asleep so much better, you'll wake up feeling a lot better. So I always put that as number one. Like, if you can have a consistent sleep wake cycle, even on the weekends, that's number one, and then you can start to add in these other things.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I think on that same note, a lot of people talk about the morning routine or the morning ritual. I
Mhm.
think equally or even more important would be the nighttime routine or wind down, actually setting an alarm to
Yeah.
go to bed, or to
Mhm.
start winding down, because that really sets the stage for you getting adequate sleep and then feeling well rested earlier in the morning, waking up on time and kind of,
Mm.
starting things on the right foot.
Hit us with yours. What's your nighttime routine, your wind down?
Wind down, well, I have lighting is a big part of that. And so we have particular lighting in our bedroom, like a salt lamp, and then we have a lamp that's a low lux, I believe. Um, so you really want to try to get rid of like overhead lighting, about the hour before bed, start to turn off the electronic devices. If I happen to be working late, which I really try not to do, 'cause since I know what it's doing to me, I have that free app on the computer called F.Lux. It's a
Mm,
download that basically will eliminate much of the blue light exposure from the screen. I also wear blue blocking glasses as
mhm,
well as kind of just an extra shield. And so, I'll be just hanging out with my fiance. We'll be talking. I'll be reading, try to read a physical book, for a change. Um, and just try to wind things down that way for
mm.
about that last hour.